As Shri Gokulji said, what should we do in such situations? All the speakers have been describing what is happening, and the media and the social media is displaying what's going on. Therefore, I don't have to say what's happening. But we have to think, how can we avoid such situations in the future also? To understand that, we have to look back and how our ancient people lived. As Gokulji said in the beginning, the current modern aspiration, the current modern aspiration is to live a good life in metropolitan city. The definition of good life is decided by the market forces. Therefore, we will not go into the details or the discussions about the modern aspiration of a good life. We have to look back and look at our ancient people's lives and study our own history, which is in the form of Purana and Itihasa, to understand what we should do for the future generations to live and avoid such genocide. When we say the times have changed, we we understand, or we try to express that everything has changed, and it is the time that is causing the change. But how time can cause the change? If you look at the nature of time, we have to take the help of Mahabharata to understand the nature of the time. All of you have read Mahabharata, and most of you know the Mahabharata war. And post the Mahabharata war, after the Mahabharata war gets over, Bhishma is laying down on the arrows, and the Pandavas are crying that they have killed all the people. At that time, Krishna scolds Pandavas and says, "You people are stupid, and a great scholarly person is laying down on the war field. Why don't you go to him and learn something useful?" At that time, they go to Bhishma and ask, "How can we lead this nation for the prosperity, and how can we rule this country?" So the Bhishma starts speaking, and he explains so many things, including human psychology, state polity, how to build the army, etc. At the end, the Yudhishthira questions him, "Kalova Karanam Raja, Rajava Kala Karanam." Is it the king who causes the time, or is it the bad time that causes the bad king? Essentially, the Yudhishthira is trying to ask, is it the bad king who causes the bad time, or is it the bad time that brings the bad king? Then the Bhishma answers, "Iti te samshayo ma bhut raja kalasya karanam." Oh Yudhishthira, don't have such doubts. It is the Raja who causes the time. Essentially, what Bhishma is trying to say is it is the policy that creates the situations. Create a situation in terms of polity, in terms of collective thinking, in terms of education policy, in terms of economical policy, everything. It is the policy that causes the condition. The current condition, whatever condition we are living today, it is caused by the policies that have been made by the previous policy makers, isn't it? Let us take an example. Every Bharatiya person, irrespective of the caste, creed, etc., gender, etc., used to have certain kind of weapon in their hands. According to their own abilities, their own social background, economic background, their professions, livelihood, etc., they used to carry different types of weapons with them. And most of the people knew how to use a weapon in their lives. That was natural. as we wear the clothes, carrying a weapon is also necessity and natural. But the Britishers understood this, and they thought if all of this weapon carrying population unites and comes against us, we will not survive. Therefore, they made a policy that you need a license to carry a weapon, and carrying weapon is illegal without the license. After 2 3 generations, the people forgot how to make a weapon and how to carry it and forget about using it. Now, if you give a weapon to in somebody's hand in Bharat, they get scared. This is the change that has been caused by a policy by a invader or colonizer. In this manner, the current situation is also caused by the previous policy makers. Therefore, we have to be careful while making policies, and also we have to hold responsible policymakers for the current situation. We might be raising funds, we might be creating, doing some charities, we might be writing to the United Nations, etc. All these things are fine, but we have to hold responsible those policymakers who caused this, and also the thought process or the ideology or the religion that causes such genocides. It also has to be held responsible. The one more aspect in today's time is, oh, Hindu Dharma is Sanatana Dharma, it is the most peaceful religion, etc. The definition of peace has been changed by the Western people. We are considering ourselves as peaceful in their terms of peaceful nation. The definition of peace is different in Bharatiya Hindu Sanatana Dharma. Peace is possible only when you have the strength. The other person or the opponent or the enemy will get scared of you and won't attack you only when you have the strength. So with that strength, you can hold back your enemy and create peace or bring peace. In that manner, our ancestors fought battles to bring peace. They did not avoid the battles to bring peace. When we say we are peace-loving people, we knew how to fight battles. Therefore, we were peace-loving people. We have to understand this. And also, it is a wrong notion, as Gopalji said in the beginning. There is a wrong notion in today's generation that, oh, Bharatiya Hindu Sanatana Dharma, it cannot be destroyed. Yes, of course, Sanatana Dharma cannot be destroyed in a conceptual context. But if there is no population that practices the Hindu Sanatana Dharma, how it can be protected? How it can be undestroyable? Therefore, while building societies, while educating our next generation, apart from educating them to make great careers in today's modern corporate world, we have to also teach them how to protect themselves. At least learn to use a weapon. Individually using a weapon is for self-defense. Collectively organizing and having organized strength is also necessary to face such situations. For example, a mob is attacking a village. If a village was trained and organized enough to resist or defend the village, the situation would have been different in Bangladesh today, isn't it? Therefore, however modern we are, however developed we are, we have to have the martial training even in today's time. That is the natural process. we should not think that carrying a weapon and getting trained to use the weapon is something primitive and the Western world, or the modern world or media has portrayed the Hindu organizations, grassroots level organizations as militant organizations. Therefore, people don't want to associate themselves with the grassroots level organizations like Bajrang Dal, etc., who used to fight on the streets. Therefore, the recruits have dropped, and nobody wants to associate themselves with such organizations today because the image, the reputation has been tarnished by the Western media. That if you organize yourself and fight for yourself, you are militant organization. So in the process of making themselves modern, people have started considering themselves superior, and such grassroots self-defense organizations as inferior and militant organizations. This has to go. We have to strengthen our grassroots defense organizations. The defense in the sense, not government defense. The government has to do what it has to do. But as a society also, we have to have our own defense, organized defense and individual defense. Both are necessary. It is said in the Shastras that Shastrena Rakshite Rashtre Shastra Charcha Pravartate. In a Rashtra, a Shastra Charcha, or production of knowledge and spreading of that knowledge or making use of that knowledge is possible only when that Rashtra is protected by the Shastra. Shastrena Rakshite Rashtre Shastra Charcha Pravartate. You want to develop as a nation, you want to evolve science, you want to evolve technology, you want to have good life. Everything is possible only when that Rashtra is protected by the weapon. So we cannot leave all the protection job to the government, and military cannot take care of all the protection, individual or collective protection. It can take care of the borders alone. Therefore, each Hindu home should think about having weapon martial trainings, and villages collectively should have trainings, weekly or periodic gatherings to train themselves, organize themselves the way Samartha Ramadas did. If you study the life of Samartha Ramadasa, you will understand what I am talking about. He trained farmers to use weapons, and those farmers helped Shivaji Maharaj to fight battles. So the kind of work that has been done by the Samartha Ramadas Maharaj has to be done again to face such situations. I think in this short time, that's the message I can give. If we get some more time, we can talk about it in details. Thank you, Ram Ram.
Pranam Swamiji. If you can stay on for a few more minutes, that would be great.
Yes.
This message is relevant because in modern times, especially after the British had come to rule over vast areas of Hindu population, there is a misconception that dharma is going to temples, going to ashrams, doing puja, and we don't have to worry about society. So could you enlighten our audience as to how we make sure we have a strong, vibrant, dynamic society which will nourish our individual aspirations?
In the Gita, Krishna talks about Swadharma. Swadharma means not personal religion. In the Western world, the religion had become so dominant and exploitative that they had to come up with the concept of religion as a personal belief. You believe in something and you keep it to yourself. So therefore, religion can become personal, but dharma cannot become personal. And it cannot be practiced in the closed door. Only worship can be done in privately, but the dharma is related to entire life. Worship can be a part of life, But dharma cannot be part of life. Dharma is entire life. This difference has to be understood by the current generation. The current generation thinks that dharma is part of my life. I am a Hindu. That identity is part of my life, and my life is a larger thing, and the dharma is a small part of my life. So when you consider or translate the dharma as religion, only then it becomes a part of life or personal worship kind of thing. But in Bharatiya scriptures or in Bharatiya context or in Hindu context, true Hindu context, dharma is nothing but life. The life has to be led according to the dharma. The life has to be lived according to the dharma. So that dharma varies person to person. For example, we have 4 ashramas: brahmacharya ashrama, grahastha ashrama, vanaprastha ashrama, sannyasa ashrama. It varies person to person, ashram to ashram, varna to varna, age by age also. According to the context, it changes. Let me give an example. Doing a homam or yajna or some ritual is mandated by Shastra to a grahastha, a married person. So he's supposed to do it. But just because it has been mandated by the Shastra and praised by the Shastra and it gives a lot of good results, a sannyasi cannot perform it. It has been negated to the sannyasi. For the grahastha, it is vidhi, but for the sannyasi, it is nishiddha, negated. So this negation is not universal, or this vidhi prescription is also not universal. Some people are mandated to do it, and some people are prohibited to do it, based on the context. If a sannyasi starts behaving like a grahastha, immediately the society starts scolding him. Oh, why are you behaving like a grahastha? Similarly, if a grahastha starts behaving like a sannyasi, starts talking like vairagya, etc., immediately the same society will ask him, hey, why are you talking like a sannyasi? So, in the context of grahastha or the family, a sannyasa is a prohibited aspect. But if the same sannyasi comes in front of them, they will bow down to him. A sannyasi is respected, but not the sannyasa is not adapted to everyone. The anukarana, imitation. If somebody tries to imitate the sannyasi, they will scold him. But the same sannyasi is respected. So, despite sannyasi having the respect, the imitation of sannyasi is prohibited. So, in this way, the entire life is based on dharma. A mother's dharma is to have children, nourish them, protect them, educate them. That is her dharma, matru dharma. That is called matru dharma. Similarly, she has patni dharma also. So, if everybody fulfills their own duties, that is their swadharma. How this swadharma is defined? It is defined based on many aspects. We can have a conference on it. So, in this way, dharma is nothing but life, or life has to be lived according to the dharma. So in this context, we have to understand the dharma not as a personal worship that has to be practiced privately. I think I answered your question.
Yes. Swamiji, these days, when Hindus show any concern for fellow Hindus, they are termed as political, as if this is not part of Dharma. We know that Swami Vivekananda had said that you are not a Hindu unless you feel the pain of your fellow brothers and sisters anywhere in the world.
Yeah.
Could you please give the guidance to all Hindus who are ignorant of the true import of Dharma, so that whenever there is injustices done against Hindus, Hindus spontaneously respond to the situation as required?
So, if you take a look at the essentials of the dharma, there are 4 essentials in one context. The 8 essentials are in a different context. Daya is one of the most essential part of the dharma, daya. And also the paropakara. Paropakarartham idam shariram. Even it is said that paropakarartham idam shariram means this body has been given to you to do the paropakara, to help others. So helping others is nothing but dharma. So if that dharma involves some political activity, that political activity also becomes the dharma. For instance, Rama's wife was kidnapped by somebody, and as a pati dharma, his personal dharma, grahastha dharma or pati dharma, his duty is to find out and protect her from the Ravana. Pati dharma, he fulfilled that duty. So after that, but to achieve that, he has to unite all the people along the way. While traveling to the Sri Lanka, he did a lot of political activities, isn't it? Having a tie with Sugriva and convincing him to provide an army is nothing but political activity, isn't it? But he did through friendship. He did through his personal character. So to fulfill the Pati Dharma, he had to do a lot of political activity. After killing the Ravana and bringing back Sita to the Ayodhya, now he is a king. He has to fulfill his Rajadharma, isn't it? To fulfill the Rajadharma, he has to do a lot of activities, political activities. He has to appoint ministers. He had to spy on a lot of people. Even spying is included in the Rajadharma, isn't it? A Raja has to find out what's going on. To find out, he has to appoint spies. So spying on somebody is also dharma, if he is a Raja, isn't it? Similarly, if somebody is helping a friend, that is mitra dharma. To help a friend, if you have to convince or if you have to approach some political organization, if you have to approach some government organization or some government official or prime minister or international organization, whatever it takes to help your friend is nothing but mitra dharma, isn't it? So in that way, if you are helping out your own community, isn't it dharma? So considering political activity as some sinner activity or some sin comes from a different context. In their mind, doing some politics is sin because the politicians used to be exploiters. Mainly, if you study the global history, the world's history, you will find out that most of the politicians had been exploiters. Therefore, politics means some exploitation. The connotation is such. But Raja Niti and Raja Dharma are nothing but dharma. Therefore, there is nothing wrong in doing politics.
Swamiji, in ancient days, uh, as per the Puranas and Itihasas and other texts, we see individuals who display asuric tendencies and for which our people had gone to war against them, destroyed these asuras. Now, when you compare to the acts of those asuras to the acts of asuras in Bangladesh and other parts of the world who are showing such inhumanity, what advice do you have for Hindus to act?
As I said earlier, villagers or small town people or communities periodically meeting each other in a place, discussing intellectually training and also physical training. Let us take an example. In a village, there are 500 houses, 500 families living in a village, and there is a temple or some banyan tree or some place where they can congregate themselves. Weekly meeting there, all youngsters can meet on some place, and all the ladies can meet in different place. All the adult male can meet in a different place. So in this way, they can have 2 or 3 places where they can meet based on the age, gender, etc., and have strategies intellectually and as well as physical training, resources, etc. In this way, if they start training themselves, within a year, they will be a different village. If such thing happens, they will be able to face it. Otherwise, if there are some people within the village, they will be able to deal with them. So, collective action is possible only when you are used to do something collectively. Some charity, some philanthropist is coming to a village, and he's giving some charity, and everybody is coming and collecting their gifts and going back to their homes. Is not some training to face something. This kind of philanthropy is going to destroy the country. If you want to help somebody, you have to train them. Gifting something and going away is not charity. So, in this way, the organizational work has to happen in each villages. Therefore, I gave the example of the Samartha Ramadas. What Samartha Ramadas did is he established or he consecrated Hanuman Murti, Hanuman idol of Hanuman in each village, and he sent people. He used to attract farmers and come do Surya Namaskar in front of the Hanuman. So it was kind of a worship for them. But in the excuse of in the garb of or in the mask of under the mask of Hanuman worship, he gave a lot of training to these people, and those trainings were well utilized by the Shivaji Maharaj later. Similarly, we have to create a chain of volunteers who will go to a village and gather some people there and have some strategies, have some plans, have some discussions, and weekly trainings or monthly programs, etc., has to be done to train themselves. They cannot accept the help from outside the village. They have to strengthen themselves to face the problem.